Right now, in 10 different corners of Florida, cranes are rising over land that looked nothing like this a decade ago, and won't look anything like it a decade from now either. Florida's population crossed 23.3 million people in 2025, and its annual growth rate is running at roughly 4 times the national average. Growth rate of 1.9% annually far exceeds the national average of 0.43%. Here's the part that should really stop you. Almost none of that growth is coming from Florida families having more kids. This means 100% of Florida's growth comes from migration, people choosing to move here from other states and countries. Somewhere close to 1,000 people are arriving in this state every single day, and every single one of them needs a place to live, a place to work, and a place to shop. That kind of pressure doesn't spread out evenly. It piles up in specific places. A solar-powered ranch that didn't exist 20 years ago, a stretch of abandoned dock land in Jacksonville, an 86-acre scar in the middle of St. Petersburg that's been empty since before some of you were born. These are the places absorbing the shock of Florida's growth right now, in real time, in 2026. Today, we're counting down 10 Florida cities and communities that are being rebuilt, expanded, or in some cases invented from scratch. And we're going to look at exactly what the numbers say they'll look like in 10 years. We're starting at number 10 and working our way to the single biggest transformation happening in this state right now. Stick around, because number 1 is not the city most people would guess. If you're new here, this channel breaks down exactly how Florida is changing, block by block, with the real numbers behind it. If that's the kind of thing you want to keep track of, hit subscribe now so you don't miss the next one. All right, let's get into it. Number 10 is Northport, tucked into Sarasota County on Florida's Gulf Coast. Northport's story starts back in the 1950s, when a company called General Development Corporation platted out thousands of residential lots across a huge stretch of land, decades before anyone needed them. That grid has quietly become one of Northport's biggest advantages. The city's large inventory of platted but undeveloped lots, a legacy of the original General Development Corporation planning grid from the 1950s, continues to fuel single-family construction that other Sarasota County cities simply cannot match at scale. The population numbers tell the story on their own. Northport has a 2026 population of 101,564, currently growing at a rate of 4.47% annually, an increase of 34.53% since the most recent census, which recorded a population of 75,496 in 2020. That's more than a third of the city's population added in roughly 5 years. Why here specifically? Northport's growth comes from affordability compared to coastal neighbors like Sarasota, a large supply of developable land, and steady in-migration from the Northeast and Midwest. People priced out of Sarasota and Naples are landing here instead, and the open lots mean builders can keep pace with demand in a way that older, built-out coastal cities simply can't. 10 years from now, expect Northport to have filled in a huge share of that GDC grid, likely closing in on 6 figures of growth added just this decade. A city that was barely a blip a generation ago, now sitting shoulder to shoulder with Florida's mid-sized metros. Number 9 takes us to the East Coast, to a city best known for 1 week in February. But Daytona Beach is quietly rebuilding itself the other 51 weeks of the year too. The city just landed recognition as one of the country's top relocation destinations. Daytona Beach was named a top 9 growth city of 2025, according to the U-Haul Growth Index, which analyzes one-way moving transactions from the past calendar year. Downtown is where the transformation is most visible. The downtown community redevelopment area has seen the most visible improvements with the new Brown & Brown headquarters tower, a riverfront esplanade, streetscape improvements along Beach Street, and a large new apartment complex under construction on the riverfront. A rezoning already approved will bring even more housing directly onto the Halifax River. A rezoning allows construction of 300 new apartments and a 500-space parking garage overlooking the western bank of the Halifax River. At full capacity, that one building alone will house roughly 450 new residents. At full occupancy, the complex could be home to about 450 people. But the project that could reshape the entire western side of the city is called Waypoint. Waypoint is one of the largest developments underway in Volusia County, spanning 427 acres near the Interstate 95 and Interstate 4 interchange, bringing more than 1,600 homes and hundreds of thousands of square feet of commercial space, transforming the area into a self-contained lifestyle destination. Put those pieces together, a rebuilt riverfront downtown and a new 427-acre district near the interstate, and Daytona Beach in 10 years starts to look like two cities that finally connected into one. Number 8 is Tampa, and specifically the neighborhood that Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates quietly bet billions of dollars on. Water Street, Tampa is a 74-acre district carved out of what used to be surface parking lots and underused warehouses just south of downtown. Water Street, Tampa is a sprawling $3.5 billion 74-acre waterfront district in the heart of Tampa's downtown. The first phase is already open and functioning. The second phase is where things get bigger. Nearly $1 billion in planned investment will add more than 2 million square feet of development and nearly 200,000 square feet of retail and restaurant space to Water Street, Tampa. Part of that next phase includes a large-capacity live entertainment venue. A new 3,500-capacity live music and entertainment venue is designed to bring more concerts, comedy shows, and special events to the area, aiming to attract artists who have outgrown smaller clubs but aren't yet ready for arena tours. Now zoom out from Water Street to the whole region, because Tampa's transformation isn't just vertical, it's about to get connected. Brightline, the private passenger rail company already running trains between Miami and Orlando, has its sights set on extending north. The extension to Tampa would be an 85-mile dedicated passenger rail line where trains could operate up to 125 miles per hour, connecting Orlando to Tampa in about an hour. If that line gets built, Tampa stops being a separate Florida market entirely. It becomes the western terminus of a rail corridor stretching all the way to Miami, and Water Street becomes the front door. Number 7 is Jacksonville, where the riverfront that sat mostly empty for decades is finally being rebuilt piece by piece. The anchor project is a Four Seasons hotel and residence tower being developed by Jaguars owner Shad Khan, sitting right along the St. Johns River near the stadium. One Shipyards Place is expected to reach completion in the first quarter of 2026. The 10-story Four Seasons hotel and private residences building is expected to top off this year. The combined cost of those two structures alone runs into the hundreds of millions. The cost for the vertical construction of both structures totals $254.3 million, growing to almost $260 million with the Marina Support Project. Right next door, the city's Science Museum is relocating entirely. Mosh plans a dramatic new home on 2.5 acres of the shipyards with a riverwalk and planned park space, with a possible opening in 2026. And towering over all of it, literally, is the reconstruction of the Jaguars' home stadium into what the team is calling the Stadium of the Future. The $1.4 billion stadium project is on a timeline for completion in August 2028, with the team playing at reduced capacity in 2025 and 2026 before playing elsewhere in 2027. Local contractors say the skepticism that's followed decades of failed downtown Jacksonville redevelopment promises is finally starting to fade. The completion of One Tower Court in the Shipyards area is more than a new building. It's proof long-discussed redevelopment is actually happening. 10 years out, expect a Jacksonville riverfront that finally matches the size of the city around it. A hotel district, a rebuilt stadium, and a museum, all standing where warehouses used to sit empty. Number 6 might be the most emotionally loaded entry on this entire list because St. Petersburg's historic gas plant district carries 40 years of broken promises attached to it. Before it became a parking lot and a stadium site, this 86-acre stretch of land was home to a thriving black neighborhood that was razed to build the ballpark in the 1980s. Before the district was razed to make way for the stadium in the 1980s, it was home to a bustling black neighborhood. Multiple redevelopment attempts have collapsed since, including a deal anchored around a new Tampa Bay Rays stadium that fell apart in the aftermath of a hurricane and ended with the team walking away entirely. But as of July 2026, the city has a new direction. St. Petersburg Mayor Ken Welch announced that Blake Investment Partners will redevelop the Tropicana Field site. After a thorough evaluation, The Berg bid from Blake Investment Partners was chosen for redevelopment of approximately 58 acres, with the Pinellas County Housing Authority selected to build affordable senior housing on the 3rd Avenue South parcel. This time, notably, there's no ballpark attached to the plan. St. Petersburg wants to redevelop the gas plant district without a ballpark. The mayor himself has framed the entire effort as generational. "I was in high school when this started," Welch said of the redevelopment. "There's no way you can call this rushed. It's been 4 decades. It's time to move forward." Current residents don't have to worry about a sudden disruption. The Rays will continue to play at Tropicana Field through the 2028 season. But by the mid-2030s, this 86-acre gap at the center of downtown St. Petersburg is finally scheduled to close. Number 5 is a city most Floridians still picture as a quiet retirement town, but that description stopped being accurate a long time ago. As of early 2026, Port St. Lucie's population has crossed a threshold nobody saw coming this fast. Port St. Lucie has exploded into a powerhouse with a population exceeding 250,000, officially surpassing historic heavyweights like Fort Lauderdale. It is now the 6th largest city in Florida. The annual growth rate backs that up. Port St. Lucie is one of the fastest growing cities in Florida, with an annual growth rate of about 5% and a 31% increase since 2020. What's driving it isn't just people chasing sunshine, it's jobs. Inside the Tradition community sits one of the largest industrial parks in the state. Spanning approximately 400 acres, Legacy Park at Tradition is one of the largest master-planned industrial parks in Florida. The park is already home to a 245,000 square foot FedEx ground sortation center, a 367,000 square foot Cheney Brothers food distribution facility, and a 220,822 square foot Amazon warehouse. A major national retailer is adding to that footprint too. Costco will be bringing hundreds of jobs to the region as the company develops a multi-phased cold and dry storage depot at the Legacy Park site. This is a fundamentally different kind of Florida growth story. Not just retirees and vacation buyers, but a logistics and distribution corridor being built to serve all of South and Central Florida. 10 years from now, don't be surprised if Port St. Lucie has climbed even further up the list of Florida's largest cities, carried there by warehouses as much as by rooftops. Number 4 just earned a title that puts it ahead of every other city in the entire United States. Wildwood, sitting quietly in Sumter County, was named the single fastest growing city in America. Wildwood is the fastest growing of the 859 cities analyzed this year, according to U.S. News and World reports the fastest growing places in the U.S. in 2025 to 2026. The growth curve on this one is almost hard to believe. Since 2010, Wildwood has experienced explosive population growth, doubling from 6,709 residents in the 2010 census to 15,730 by the 2020 census. As of April 1st, 2025, the population is estimated at 36,783, more than doubling from 15,730 in the 2020 census. Read that again? This city has more than doubled in size twice in 15 years. The engine behind it is right next door. Wildwood sits at the southern edge of the Villages, the massive retirement community that now anchors an economy of its own. The Villages draws more than 165,000 residents, with 7.5 million square feet of commercial space and roughly $1.5 billion in annual retail sales. That retail engine is still expanding. Walmart's next-generation supercenter opened March 4th, 2026 at State Road 44 and Morse Boulevard, and every new resident of the Villages needs workers to serve them, and those workers are increasingly choosing to live in Wildwood. At this pace, a city that had fewer than 7,000 residents in 2010 could realistically be pushing 60 or 70,000 within the next decade. An entirely new mid-sized Florida city built almost entirely in one generation. Number 3 isn't just growing fast for a Florida city. It's growing faster than any metro area in the entire country. According to the newest Census Bureau numbers, Ocala didn't just make the list, it topped it, and not for the first time. Ocala had the fastest population increase between July 2024 and July 2025, according to newly released U.S. Census Bureau data. Ocala's metro area led all 384 tracked metros nationally, cementing its back-to-back position as America's fastest-growing city. The force reshaping this city has a name: the World Equestrian Center, a massive show and hospitality venue that opened in Ocala just a few years ago and now draws roughly 1 million visitors a year. World Equestrian Center Ocala draws approximately 1 million visitors annually, combining competitions and retail visitors. The ripple effect on land values around it is staggering. The growth in property values has been striking, particularly within a 6-mile radius of the venue. Between 6 and 9 miles away, vacant land values have surged by an astonishing 325%, and the venue itself isn't finished expanding. Slated to open in 2026, the campus expansion will feature a total of 11 outdoor fields, including 4 artificial turf fields and 7 natural grass fields. Also slated to open in 2026, the Shops off 80th will double the venue's retail footprint with 28 new storefronts. Staffing is scaling right alongside it. The venue already employs more than 700 people, with another 100 positions planned as new facilities come online. Marion County has held the trademark title Horse Capital of the World since 1999, and the numbers back it up. The equine industry generates more than $2.3 billion in local economic impact, with more than 80,000 horses spread across upwards of 190,000 acres of pasture land. 10 years from now, expect Ocala to have fully shed its old reputation as a sleepy stop off Interstate 75 and emerged as one of the defining boomtowns of the entire Southeast. Number 2 is a city that's already massive and is on pace to nearly double in size before it's finished growing. Cape Coral currently sits at roughly 228,000 residents, but city planners are already projecting where this ends up. Cape Coral is one of Florida's fastest-growing cities, with an estimated population of 228,000 and projections to reach 375,000 residents by 2050. The annual growth rate is running at a steady 3.5%, concentrated in one specific corner of the city. With a 3.5% annual growth rate, particularly in North Cape Coral, 75% of new development is expected there. And here's the number that should really change how you picture this city's future. Cape Coral is nowhere close to finished. Cape Coral is only 47% built out, with more than 65 square miles of commercial and residential space available for development. That's less than half the city currently developed, with the other half still waiting. The construction dollars flowing in reflect that. An estimated $1.7 billion was invested in residential and commercial construction in 2025 alone, with 3,578 certificates of occupancy and completion issued. Major individual projects are already reshaping the waterfront. Groundbreaking is expected for the Seven Islands project, nearly 50 acres turning into a hotel, nearly 1,000 residential units, a community center, and boat slips. A separate commercial hub is rising alongside it. Cape Coral Grove currently consists of more than 300,000 square feet of commercial space spread across more than 130 acres, anchored by a high-end grocery store. The city's own healthcare and education systems are racing to keep pace. Lee Health is expanding its Cape Coral footprint with residency programs in a city that now ranks as the second largest in Florida by land area. With less than half of its land developed and nearly 150,000 more residents projected by mid-century, Cape Coral in 10 years won't just be bigger. Huge stretches of what's currently empty land will be full neighborhoods. And that brings us to number 1, the community that doesn't just represent Florida's future, it was quite literally designed to be it. Built from raw land with no history to erase and no old downtown to rebuild around. In 2006, a developer named Sid Kitson made one of the largest and strangest land purchases in Florida history. Kitson and partners purchased the entire 91,000-acre property, a former ranch sitting between Fort Myers and Punta Gorda, with a plan to build America's first entirely solar-powered town from the ground up. Nearly 2 decades later, that vision has real numbers behind it. By the end of 2025, the town is expected to have sold 6,000 homes and have 15,000 residents. And the pace is accelerating, not slowing down. Babcock Ranch posted record net sales of 1,066 homes in 2025, a 34% increase from 2024, despite a weaker Southwest Florida housing market overall. Here's the number that should stop you cold. Babcock Ranch right now, today, is only a quarter finished. The community, currently home to 15,000 residents, is on track to reach roughly 60,000 at full build-out, and is at only about 25% of its projected population capacity. The town's solar infrastructure was built to handle all of that future growth already. There is already enough solar power to accommodate all future growth. By 2026, that solar operation had scaled into something enormous. The facility boasts a capacity of 150 megawatts, generated by more than 680,000 photovoltaic panels. The long-term target is a full town of nearly 20,000 homes. The town supports a projected population of 50,000 residents across 19,500 planned residences, engineered to withstand a Category 5 hurricane. The national real estate industry has taken notice of how fast this is climbing the rankings. Babcock Ranch is named the 7th fastest-selling master-planned community in the United States, up from 39th place when it first appeared on the list in 2020. Think about what that actually means for the next 10 years. This isn't a city being renovated or a downtown being rebuilt. This is a city being finished. 3/4 of Babcock Ranch's final population hasn't even moved in yet. What exists today, the schools, the shops, the solar fields, the trails, all of it is roughly a quarter of what's coming. In 10 years, an area that was empty ranch land less than 20 years ago could be home to tens of thousands of residents, standing as the clearest single proof of just how fast Florida is being remade. 10 cities, 10 completely different transformations. A solar town quadrupling in size, a stadium district rebuilding itself for the 3rd time in 40 years, and a small crossroads town that somehow became the fastest growing city in the entire country. What ties every single one of these together is the same underlying force: roughly 1,000 people arriving in Florida every day, all of them looking for somewhere to land. The Florida you're looking at right now, in 2026, is a snapshot of a state mid-transformation. Come back to this list in 10 years, and it's a safe bet that at least a few of these places will be unrecognizable compared to what they look like today. That's a wrap on this one. Thank you for watching all the way through. This channel only grows because people like you stick around and share it. If you got value out of this breakdown, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you catch the next one the moment it drops. Let us know down in the comments which city on this list surprised you the most. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next video.